What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the MannyKay way. If you don't already know, my name is Manpreet Kaur, MannyKay for short, and I make weekly videos on self and spiritual development. Today's video is all about how you can get your life back on track, how you get to reset, reevaluate, and realign with the goals that you set out for yourself, and how you can really look at them in a way where you can create a sustainable plan for the things that you want to cause and create in your life. I'm going to give you 10 easy steps. The style of this video is going to be where you get to pause with me during each step if that works for you, or if you want to go ahead and write each of the steps down so you can do this at a later time, that's also fine. I encourage you to put these steps into action immediately because it's really important to, the minute you get inspiration, to act on that inspiration. And this video has that purpose to be here for inspiring you, so I hope it does. And with that, let's get right into the 10 steps. So the first step is to get a piece of paper out, and I want you to write down or journal out all the thoughts that are cluttering up your mind. I know you guys know exactly what I mean when sometimes you're going about your day and you figured out, hey, I want to take some time to realign with myself and really figure out what my plan is for the rest of the week or what I have going on for today and tomorrow. And you have so much noise going on in your head in regards to the chores you have to do or the conversation you had with the random person at the grocery market that you feel like you are being distracted within your mind. So I call this the white noise that is in my mind. And in order to clear that out and flush that out, sometimes I take a piece of paper and I write down everything going on, all the conversations I'm having with myself or the conversations I'm having about random things that happened in that day or my long, everlasting to-do list. So take this time and pause the video here if you want, but just write down all the thoughts in a stream of consciousness type of style. I want you to use this time to really empty out everything that's going on within your mind so you can really be in the right state of mind in order to realign and reevaluate your goals and how you want to get back on track. So pause the video here, like I said, or write this down and then move on to the next step. The second step is pulling out the goals that you had written out the last time you did that. So currently we're in June and I figured this would be the perfect time to do like a mid-year reset. It's usually the time of year where people start looking at what they have accomplished and feeling down. But the point of this video isn't to make you feel down about where the gaps are, but it's rather for you to look at where the gaps are so you can reinitiate the inspiration and motivation you had in the beginning of the year in order to actually accomplish the goals that you have and maybe accomplish all of them even though you feel a little behind right now. So most people like to create New Year's resolutions. So if that is when you wrote your goals out in January, go ahead and pull that paper out. Or maybe you even reevaluated your goals 3 months ago. So pull out whatever paper or Excel document or Microsoft Word document that you wrote those goals on and just take this time to really look at them, contemplate and evaluate why those were your goals, kind of think of where you are in terms of all of those goals. But the second step is just pondering and contemplating what those goals are, making sure you have them written out in front of you. I do recognize that sometimes we have these goals that we create and we don't take the time out to write them down. So if you are one of those people who did not write down your goals, then I would take this time to write down why you didn't write those goals down. Maybe you had goals and you didn't write them down, or maybe you didn't have any goals and you want to contemplate why you didn't have any goals and now you're feeling like you should have some goals. So take this time as a second step of reflection. Go ahead and pause the video again if you want to, but if not, go ahead and move on to the third step. The third step really comes down to what actually happened. So here I want you to line up the goals that you have written down with what happened in regards to each of those goals. So let's say one of your goals was to write a book this year, and maybe you are halfway done with writing that book. And at this point, you would write parallel on the other side of the sheet of paper, I am halfway done with this book. If another one of your goals was to create digital content and you had a number associated with how many posts you wanted to create or how many videos you wanted to create, go ahead and write down how many videos you have created up to this point, or Why haven't you done any of those videos possibly? So just take this time out to write down what actually happened right next to whatever those goals were that you had written down. So if you were one of those people who didn't have any goals or didn't write them down, this would be a good time to write down whatever you have accomplished thus far in the year, and write down other things that happen that are sort of spontaneous. Sometimes certain things happen in our life that come out of nowhere, and we have to create an action plan in regards to how we're going to deal with that obstacle. Or sometimes it's not even an obstacle, it might be an opportunity that we didn't account for or plan for in the beginning of the year, but because we are open to manifesting and open to saying yes to opportunities, we've taken on those different things that have come through the door, and because of that, we kind of had to shift and create a new plan. So if things like that have happened, go ahead and also write those things down. During this stage, I want you to be really concise, and while details are important, don't write too much. Again, go ahead and pause at this step if you want to take the time to do that now, or move on to step number 4. Okay, so step number 4 is all about analyzing why you didn't hit some goals, or why you're not as far along in those goals as you maybe should be. So for example, if you're 6 months down the line from where you had created that goal, and that goal had an annual deadline, right? If you are not halfway done with that goal, here is where you would like to put in why you didn't hit that goal. So sometimes certain things come up that made you shift your plan. But sometimes we just have to be really real with ourselves and write down that this wasn't a priority and something else became a priority. Sometimes we like to think that we can do so much more and expect ourselves to have way more energy to put towards many things. And when it comes to actually putting the energy to all those things, especially if you're starting new things, we overpredict how much energy we're going to be able to give to that thing. And only once we're in the process of creating those things do we realize how much more time we should have allocated in our schedule to do those things. So take this time and pause the video if you must, but really write down why you missed those goals, or why you're not as far along as you think you should be. The 5th step is about writing down ideally what the rest of the year looks like for you. Here, it's really important to not get too hard on yourself in regards to step number 4. So in step number 4, remember, we wrote down why we missed those goals or why certain things shifted for us. And it's usually around this time that when we write those things down, we get disheartened because we feel like we didn't do what we were supposed to do. And sometimes we let that story get created about feeling like a failure. In this moment, I want you to choose to not create that story. I want you to choose to know that you are limitless and that you can create any dreams and goals that you still have for the rest of the year. And I want you to write down what those ideal goals look like. So let me give you an example. If your goal, like I said, was to write a book, and maybe you weren't halfway done with your book and it's already June. So how does that goal at this point get to change? Is the goal still, I'm going to write my book, or is it, okay, I'm going to get this much done of my book? So reassess and readdress what your goals are, and don't get too hard on yourself about them. Just know that you're taking the right steps now to get right back on track as to where you want to be. Or maybe you wanted to create a certain number of Instagram posts or YouTube videos, or whatever your digital content creation plan was. If at this point you've had to readdress and reevaluate, write down what your new goals are. Or maybe you got new sources of inspiration, and at this point in the year, you're looking to redirect and reframe the way that you are marketing or networking when it comes to your business. So whatever your ideal goals are, take this time to write them down. And please, please, please remember, do not get hard on yourself. This is a time where you get to be joyful and excited about the goals that you are writing. So pause the video and do just that, or move on to step number 6. Step number 6 is all about writing down what is important. So here is where I want you to list the goals out in terms of importance. So number 1 is going to be your main priority, the most important goal, and however many goals you wrote down, I want you to number the rest of them. This is to allow you to really look at the goals that you do have, instead of looking at them in a web sort of way in your mind where the goals are all over the place. Here you're going to have a list written down in front of of you so you can actually see what your goals are and how they rank in terms of importance. So this is basically you taking the time out to realize where your priorities are right now in life. Something that I want to mention here is something that has come up a lot for me, so I think it's valuable to mention. A lot of the times in my life, I realize I have so many goals and I get so hard on myself that I feel like I can't hit each and every single one of them. But doing this priority or importance type of list has been super important for me to realize that my goals are all important to me, but right now the focus and value that I want to create is being drawn to number 1 and number 2. And I get to know that right now my focus is to go to those 2 goals because those 2 goals are what are super important for me in my life right now. And all the other goals on the list will manifest when the timing is right. But right now, number 1 and 2 and 3 are the most important. So I get to put all of my energy and willpower towards those. Sometimes we think that if we're not working on all of our goals all of the time, that we're never going to accomplish those goals, but that's just not the truth. We can accomplish all of our goals, but we can do them at the right time when it's that time in our life that calls for us to be pursuing that particular goal. And sometimes while you're creating this list, you'll realize a lot of your goals are interconnected and there's ways that they can work together. But in regards to this particular step right now, just take the time out to prioritize your goals and rank them, like I said, from 1 to whatever number of goals that you've had. I would recommend not having more than 5 or 6, to be honest, but I understand that we all have a lot of goals, and depending on how they work with each other, you might be able to blend them, but focus on ranking them and really understanding where your priorities are. Pause the video again or move on to step number 7. Step number 7 is a really fun step. Here is where I want you to focus on who you get to be in order for these goals to manifest and come to life. Here I want you to focus on nouns that you connect to. So if you connect to the word creator or artist or entrepreneur or producer or lyrical artist or whatever the words are that you connect to, I want you to focus on those and create a vision type of sentence of who you get to be and how you get to channel the skills and talents that you have within all those nouns to manifest and create the goals. Spend some time here because it actually really gives you a lot of energy and joy to think about who you authentically are and how you can step more into those ways of being to create your goals. This is a really important exercise because it really brings out what you value in life and how you get to bring all those things that you value in life to the ways that you be in order to reach your goals more efficiently and more effectively. So pause the video here again or move on to step number 8. Step number 8 is all about creating an action plan and a system in your day-to-day life that works for you in order for you to create the habits on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis that are going to allow you to have the right processes in place so you can hit your goals quicker, more effectively, and more efficiently. Here is where I want you guys to create habits that are things that you can actually do when you have the least amount of willpower and the least amount of energy. We can't predict what our energy and willpower are going to feel like on a day-to-day basis. And some days we might overextend ourselves, and the day after that, if we've planned to do something when our body's actually telling us that we need rest, that's how we create burnout in our life on a more frequent basis. So in order to not have burnout and in order to really honor our bodies whenever they're telling us, hey, we need rest, or hey, we really need to step into gear right now and move in this way, I want you to create the daily habit changes that you know you can do on a day-to-day basis, even if your energy is at its lowest. If you only create habits that can actually get done when when you have the most amount of energy and you're having the best day of your life, you set yourself up for failure because we all know that life isn't like that on a day-to-day basis. And if you don't have habits on a day-to-day or weekly basis that seem tangible and realistic when you're running on a low battery, you're more than likely going to get to those days where you want to skip them. And then when you've skipped them for 1 or 2 or 3 days, you're more than likely to fall off. And then your whole action plan and system goes out the window. So here we're really trying to focus on sustainability. And that's why I urge you to create habits that you can actually get done on a day-to-day basis or on a weekly basis that you can accomplish on low energy. Let me give you an example. If currently one of your goals has to do with health and wellness, and you are at a place right now in your life where you're not exercising, but you know that you want to, I wouldn't create a goal where you're going to run 3 miles a day, because right now jumping from 0 to 3 miles a day is something that's really difficult, especially if you're going to have days where you're having low energy. Take baby steps towards that larger goal. Running 3 miles a day can still be your end goal, but for right now, think about daily habits like, okay, I'm gonna go outside and walk for 30 minutes a day and see if that works for you. If you catch yourself having trouble with the daily habits and the systems that you've created in place, catch yourself immediately and readdress so that you don't stray too far off the path from reaching your goals. And the minute you find a bottleneck in your system or in your process, you're able to address it and create a habit that actually works with you. The biggest takeaway from step number 8 is creating those sustainable daily habits that you can continue to carry on even on the days that you have the lowest energy, because those are the days that are going to be the hardest for you to stick to those habits. And especially when you're in the beginning phase of doing this for yourself, it's really important to create realistic, tangible habits that you will be able to commit to, because doing that is going to create trust with yourself on you being able to hit those micro habits and those micro goals, and you're going to be able to stay on track with your goals more often than not. Pause the video here if you need some time to do that, or move on to step number 9. Step number 9 has to do with accountability. Create an accountability plan for yourself. Whether that's writing 3 people down that you're gonna touch base with every day or every week to hold yourself accountable with certain things when it comes to health and wellness, or you're writing a book goal. Sometimes even hiring a coach or a mentor can help you when it comes to keeping yourself on track. Sometimes we're not in the right state of mind to ask for that external support. So if you're in that phase in your life right now, then I urge you to be your own accountability partner. It may be a little bit harder when we don't have external reinforcement, but at the end of the day, you get to learn to be your own accountability partner first. You have to be invested in the change that you want to create. So in being your own accountability partner, create a document, maybe it's an Excel spreadsheet, where you're creating ways for you to check off the things that you're doing, or every time that you finish your walk, you're going to mark it off a calendar so you see something physical in front of you that's exciting you about all the days that you have been going on a walk, something that's going to hold you accountable. So whatever you know is going to make you feel rewarded for what you're doing, create a plan for that. More than often, creating those teammates outside of yourself, whether that be a family member or a friend, is super important when it comes to accountability. But again, I understand not everyone's in that state of mind right now where they can ask for external reinforcement. But if you are, definitely create that accountability for yourself by you deciding that maybe you're gonna take a screenshot of the map that you walked on that day and send it to your mom or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Something as small as that is going to invigorate you to continue to do that, because you know, okay, I have to send that screenshot of the map to this person every single day. And it's also going to empower that other person to want to have that with you as well. So creating that type of accountability relationship can be super important and exciting for yourself and the people around you, because you guys are creating momentum and energy with each other in terms of the goals that you guys have. So go ahead and create that plan now, pause the video, or move on to step number 10. Step number 10 is all about acknowledging yourself. Why do you deserve to achieve your goals? Why are you the person that has been put on this planet to write that book that you're working on? Why are you that person that needs to be creating that digital content that wants to inspire other people? Or maybe you have another vision in life. Why are you that person that gets to share it with other people on this planet? Take this time to really empower yourself to step into inspired action. Number 10 is super important because it's what's going to motivate you in this very moment to take action. Sometimes we spend a lot of time planning and reevaluating and coming up with our goals to then, once we're done with the exercise, put it away and not start immediately. I'm here to tell you that you get to start immediately. The point of this whole exercise was to inspire you and motivate you to step into inspired action right now. So don't waste any time. Do all the steps, if you haven't already, piece by piece with this video. Do them right now and step into that place within you where you are excited about the things that you want to cause and create, and truly believe that you can create this life for yourself and really reach your goals, and focus on those small baby steps that we talked about of how you're going to make those changes on a day-to-day basis so you can reach your goals more efficiently and effectively. I hope you guys got some value from this video in regards to how you guys get back on track with your life and reset, reevaluate, and realign with your vision and your goals. If you guys did, then definitely like and comment down below. I want to hear from you guys. How are you guys going to implement these changes, and exactly what is the biggest goal that you are working on right now? Write it down in the comments below and manifest it into existence. I know people here in our community would love to support you with what you're trying to cause and create. If you haven't already hit that subscribe and notification bell, I make weekly videos on Wednesdays and Saturdays. I love you guys so much. Until next time.